The beach ban along the Eastern Cape coast and the Garden Route this festive season saw the tourism industry overnight reinventing itself to save businesses. The slogan "Sunny skies and endless beaches" are no longer able to draw the tourists. Bookings are down 80% on previous years and the outlook is bleak. Now let's talk to my colleague Lerato Fekisi, who's joining us from our Eastern Cape studio. Good evening, rather good morning, and welcome to the agenda. Let's quickly speak about how this ban may have affected the Garden Route and specifically business in that area.
Good afternoon to you, Aljan. I don't know if you've ever been to the Garden Route. It is the most beautiful, most scenic view you will ever see. I mean, as you just drive along Tsitsikamma and the Garden Route, the beach is beautiful. The hotels, the B&Bs, the restaurants are top class of definitely the country. And anytime you go to the areas, the one thing that you want to go to is the beach, because without the beach, really, the Garden Route is really nothing. So the beach ban has really affected tourism. It's affected business in the area, because anyone who comes to Knysna, who goes to George, who goes to Tsitsikamma, the one thing that they want is to dip into the water in their bikinis and have a beautiful swim with their families. So the business sector there has been discouraged by the beach ban and have tried as much as they can to try and make sure beaches become open, especially now during the festive season. But it's not all hope lost, Aljan, because I don't know if you've ever been to Tsitsikamma. I don't know if you're an adrenaline junkie yourself, but there's just so much to do. There is the second highest bungee jump in Tsitsikamma. There's segways. There is canoe drives on the beautiful resorts. So there's still so much more to do. So Tsitsikamma is saying our beaches may be closed. You can't take beautiful walks in Knysna along the beach. You can't put your feet in the beautiful water. But there's still so much more to do. So my colleague Babalo and Natasha, the camera lady, took a drive to Tsitsikamma, and let's see what they got up to, the adrenaline junkies that they are. Take a look at this clip.
Down but not out. Fires in 2018, drought in 2019, and now COVID-19. The tourism community of Tsitsikamma and Garden Route, however, is determined to stay positive. They say, despite the massive economic knocks throughout the value chain, they are resilient and will try and save the tourism industry.
Forget about the way you did your business or how you did your marketing. You need to start from scratch. And that is exactly what we know best to do in the industry, to reinvent ourselves.
At Monkeyland, the tours are guided, so we've shrunk the size of the tour down to a maximum of 10 people, and so they can space nicely in the forest, and many times just 2 people go on tour with a guide. At Birds of Eden, we allow people to now walk freely on their own, so the spacing is absolutely no issue there, and the same at Jukani Wildlife Sanctuary. So space, we're utilising our space better, that's for sure. And the other thing we have done is we've learned to multitask, which is actually something I think every South African learned in South Africa. When lockdown happened, we all of a sudden had to figure things out and just do it differently.
The Eastern Cape promotes itself as the adventure province, so there's a lot to do without getting your feet wet.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drink. What a scream!
I think it's really nice. A lot of people are following the restrictions well. And I think because there's not many tourists around, we found our holiday a lot cheaper than usual. That is definitely really nice, but it's still a very nice trip to do. Obviously everyone's adapting their holiday, but still having a really good time.
Beaches are quiet, not a lot of people, it's really quiet, it's nice.
Your first time being jump?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
The next few weeks we're going to be 2021. What are you most looking forward to?
My second jump.
And?
Without a mask.
The small tourist hub of Storms River is trying to woo local visitors with a host of exciting activities.
I'm really excited because I've never done this before, and it's my first time since lockdown that I've done an adventure like this.
I'm very excited today because it's the first time I'm going out with my family in a really long time, and I can't wait for this new adventure.
The change in focus from beaches to the promotion of the natural beauty of the area was a natural choice.
This is the Cape Heart battery that we have come to show you here. It's been standing here for plus minus 600 years now. And this is a very unique tree that are forming a face here. So that's your eyes and the nose and the mouth underneath. And the tree has been standing here for more than 500 to 600 years. And the tree is about 20 meters in height. So this is the second biggest tree that we have in the indigenous forest around here.
With the blue seas off the list of things to do, a forest bike ride or hike have become the next big thing.
Well, I've collected a lifetime of beautiful memories in this town. And after that last walk, I am a bit hungry. Hello. Hi. Thank you. For SABC News, Baba Long Tengenya, Tsitzigama.
Well, as you can see, Aldrin, for yourself, there's just so much to do in Tsitzigama, and I hope that bungee jump will be a challenge for you in 2021. Maybe you might see Aldrin Sampir do a black flip in Tsitzigama, who knows?
I don't know. I need a bit of convincing to get me to do that. But just quickly speak about 2020 and being a journalist in 2020. And I don't know how difficult it was for you, but I was explaining to the team earlier on as well that I remember during the hard lockdown level 5 and driving from home to work and how empty the streets were. So there was that sense of eeriness, but people still had to go out, the likes of yourself, also making sure that we get those stories in relation to COVID-19.
I think in my history of being a journalist, 2020 was definitely the toughest year that we've had, not more for myself, but other journalists as well. I think we had to do media and journalism in ways that we've never done before. It called us to be creative. I remember my boss, Deirdre, saying at the beginning of this year that 2020 is going to be a year where either you swim or you sink as a journalist, and it's going to prove who the real journalists are, because we had to start being innovative. I don't think I ever imagined myself having to ever do a story without having any physical contact with someone, but literally direct all the people in my story through social media, through phones. In the end, to get a story, had to wear masks when you did live crossing. And you know yourself, Aldrin, that journalism is such a personal thing because you get to meet the people behind the story. So not being able to have that close contact and to be in contact with people was quite hard. We also had to go out and do really scary stories at a time where the virus was peaking in the metro. We had to go inside hospitals, but with a drive, because as broadcasters, our main aim is to inform and to educate. So despite the challenges we faced this year in terms of technology and also in terms of journalism as a whole, in terms of innovation, I think what was the drive for myself and other journalists is that our mandate is to inform and educate at any expense. Even if we are going to face a pandemic, we're going to do that. So I don't know if you know, Aldrin, but every single year in June there is the National Arts Festival. They've been around for over 20 years, and this year many were scared that the National Arts Festival will actually be cancelled because of the pandemic, but the organizers were like, absolutely not. This is one of the biggest artistic displays in the Eastern Cape, and the show will go on. So this year, the National Arts Festival was actually held virtually, and all the people you're about to see in my clip, I think only one of the artists I got to meet physically, but everyone else, Arjun, everything that you see in the following clip now was done virtually. So like I said, it was a year where innovation, creativity, thinking outside the box, in fact, thinking like there is no box, was the key to it all. So we're about to show you a story that I did of the first ever virtual National Arts Festival, and a story that won me my first Vodacom Journalist of the Year award in 2020. Take a look at this. No vendors, crafters or rehearsals on the streets of Makhanda. All the energy has been channeled to a virtual space. Behind the scenes is where all the magic is happening. Even without an audience, the music plays on.
It's a new thing, and one thing that you must understand is that the digital world is taking over. So this is the beginning, like this pandemic has given us a chance to tap into spaces that we wouldn't tap into if things were just normal.
Tobisa Maholwana hopes to bring some healing. She says poetry is a tool to address the issues gripping our society.
I was stained with lust, and none of it ever seemed to last. Yes, I was stained with lust, and none of it ever seemed to last. You see, these writings on my wall had become permanent. These writings on my soul could not be changed. These writings on my wall soul had become a part of who I was. I could not change it now.
I see the necessity and the importance of poetry staying alive, because sometimes as poets, we are the voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. We are the voice for those who don't have a platform to be heard. And we are the voice that brings hope to those that think that they are alone and they're suffering alone in the things that they may be going through.
And if poetry is not your cup of tea, experiencing magic is just a click away. Brendan Peel still has a trick or two up his sleeve.
99% of the stuff I do is in front of a live audience. Also with magic, of course, usually when you do something, you usually kind of get a reaction. Like you get a whoa moment from the people, you know. But when you're doing it, you know, just in front of your camera, there's no like whoa. There's no like kind of give and take of reactions. You can't feed off the energy as much from the crowd.
And the little ones have not been left out either. Linda Ward studied fine art and developed animation skills working as an apprentice at various studios in London. Her 1-minute online story is also showcasing at the Arts Festival. The story, Not As Sweet As It Looks, is based on a book she wrote with her sister.
Online, I've been working for quite a long time digitally, and a lot of my stuff does end up online for sort of promotions or corporate information and things like that. So I think it's a great platform, and I think it's the awesome thing is that it's available for anybody.
The festival website will serve as a portal for short films, virtual art exhibitions, online workshops, and other experiences and events. Each day an online program will be posted. Tickets are available on the website. The popular village green will also be virtual, offering a trader's listing with a digital gallery for purchases. Well, as you can see for yourself, Aljan, that the show was maybe not physical, but the show definitely did go on. It's been a challenging year for us as journalists, and I want to commend every other journalist within Eastern Cape who also won awards this year, and also nationally. I think we have been pushed, we have been challenged, but one thing that we did, that we delivered, we educated and we informed.
To say, but there was something prestige though about being part of what we were calling at the time the frontline workers, that you were part of the essential workers. So when you drive around the road, you had a permit actually that allowed you to be on the road. Is that not true, Lerato?
Wow, Aldrin. Yeah, definitely. I think there was some sort of like VIP treatment, if you want to call it that, because we were allowed to travel around the country, and no, we didn't abuse it. We went with our permit for work purposes, but I must say it did feel quite important to have that tag that says, you know what, I can pass here because I'm at the SABC.
Yes, and I am serving my country. Thank you so much, Lerato, and as you've indicated as well, thank you so much to every other journalist, whether it is the camera people, the crew that's working behind the scenes, making sure that we bring you up-to-date stories with regards to COVID-19. Really appreciate all your work, and condolences to those families who lost their loved ones during this period as well.